Hi, welcome to the Mad Max channel. So at the time of filming this, it's 3:44 in the morning. So after a couple of drinks, I thought it'd be a good idea to do a review / commentary thing about Minecraft. So what's Minecraft? Well, it's a legendary game that spawned off multiple games of a similar genre. So you set up a game starting off as creative or survival. You set off whether you're having cheats, if you're having a startup box, and multiple different settings. So game cost 15 to 20 quid. Varies between mobile phone, Android, Apple, PlayStation, Xbox, and Raspberry Pi. So the game is vastly available on different kinds of things. So, I'm 33 years old. Why would I be playing it? Glad you asked. Good question. And the reason why I play it is, it's a good time waster game. And with that, what I mean is, you can happily, in survival mode, spend 300 hours plus on one single level. Now, there's multiple external levels attached to the main game, being the Enderworld and the Hell section or whatever it's called. So you have two different portal things. One's called the Ender one and one is whatever that portal is called. But more to that later on. So you start off the game. If you're in creative mode, you basically in God mode. You have everything available and unlocked straight away. So, flying around. That obviously indicates that we are in creative mode with no health indicator or food indicator. So, main important part is whether you're in creative or survival, you want to pick a place to make your base. Now, in survival, you want to pick the place with a lot more thought, because it would take a lot longer to sort it out. Now, if I was doing this area here, it'd take ages to chop down these trees. So I want to clear this area off, make it tree free, and obviously in the process of it you'd be collecting wood and etc. And obviously if I'm going to build a base, I'm going to need all sorts of different kind of resources to make doors, lights, windows, and all the other little bits that you need. But in creative, you don't need it. So I'm going to turn this lump of rock into a base. Eventually. So back to the theory of why would a 30-odd play this? Now, I said as a great excuse is it's a time waster. And it is a time waster. But if you have kids, chances are you end up learning to play the game so you can help them play it. Prime example is if you happen to have a kid who's about 5 years old, they'll need a little bit of help with it. Kids are really good at learning mobile phones and tablets and computers and stuff like that. But those still need help, whichever way you look at it. It's not exactly a bad game to play. If you liked an old game like Dungeon Keeper from 1998 or whatever it is, you like this in a certain way. It's not quite a Dungeon Keeper, but it can in certain various ways be similar. By the way, to get rid of trees, you have to get rid of roots. Then the tree rests off it itself rots away. Well, it won't take too much longer for us to turn this rock in the middle of nowhere into a usable base. Hey, an apple. Oh yeah, if you're in survival, food is quite necessary, same as health. There's plenty of things trying to kill you. Hunger, falling, monsters, fire, drowning. It's like the movie 100 Ways to Die in the West. Quite accurately so. Flying around is obviously quite handy. By the way, point to note, if you're playing the PC version and you come to maps, it is not the same as the PlayStation version. On the PlayStation 3, if you create a map, it will create a map for the world. Whereas in PC version, sadly, and my most biggest gripe about the game, only creates a map for a small section, and it's a nuisance. Right, let's pick what kind of stone we're going to do for the borderline of this place. I think we're going to use good old-fashioned brick, because it sounds sensible. It'll stand out like a sore thumb so you can see it for miles. And that's the thing, because it's quite easy to get actually lost in this game. If you don't have a map and if you're playing survival, there's nothing worse than losing a base than to start all over again. Especially if you're doing jumps to Ender Worlds or the Dungeon World. Especially that you get lost in the Dungeon World, make an Ender portal, and you get lost and you can't find your base again. I've actually done that where I've spent 300 hours on a save, went for a wander, lost the base and can't find it again, even flying around. Now, block types. You have your standardized blocks, you have redstone blocks, which are basically slightly mechanical. You have the various enchantment stuff, weaponry, liquids, potions, magic powers. You have to create certain materials using certain procedures, like making glass. You have to melt sand. So, do you have to be a geek to download Minecraft? No. You just need to be a parent that has a kid who might need a little bit of help. Now, even though I'm in my 30s, I can still spend an X amount of hours playing it. Do I get bored with it? Is it like Call of Duty? No. It's a lot more peaceful. Also means you can play the game and not be bothered about, have I got work in an hour? You just simply exit and save and play whenever you want. I've got a couple of saves on levels where I haven't screwed up. About 4 years old. And even so, the game gets quite often updates and there's variations and stuff like that. And I will point out, the game I currently have, whether it's a bug or something, isn't entirely optimized, but I have seen people have HD textures and stuff like that, and yes, there's mods. I'm sure you guys looking at this here are going, well, this is a bit boring. Don't worry, we'll be skipping this in a minute to what I classify as a finished creative base. If it was a functional survival base, it'd be very different. The way it looks, how it functions, and what kind of accessories it's got inside of it. Because in survival mode, like I say, it takes a couple of many hours before you get the materials together. I mean, sure, you can dig quite fast down the way, but when you're starting off with a wooden axe, you're not going to go digging very far. Now, there's plenty of YouTube videos about Minecraft explaining how to do computers and all sorts of stuff with it. But really, to learn a whole lot, you have to play it quite a bit to work out the best technique or just survival and stuff. So what we're basically going to do is we're going to use the main form of this rock face thingy-majig and work out the best way of doing it. So, many hours later, we have a base. So, a harbour, yes, you can have boats. We put lava around the base. Simple principle behind that is enemies don't get too close to the walls and blow themselves. Yes, there is enemies that can blow themselves up. Yes, there's animals, and you need animals for various different things. Food / meat, which you have to cook. Important one, cook it. Yes, that includes the chickens because they make you ill. Yes, we're going for a set of doors. And because this is creative mode, we have a library. I did classify this as a strange disco room, but we won't care too much about it. A combat fighting room, which it isn't really, but you know. An enchantment potion room. A bedroom. Now the typical use of the bed is to skip nighttime light. So you go from nighttime to the morning. There's only use. Besides that, if you save yourself there, you die somewhere else, you respawn back in that bed again. And that train I just used there is quite useful, but it takes quite a lot of materials to make it. So, pathway to the rooftop. You can tell there's still parts of the original construction of this rock, but not much. And if you wonder what that light tower at the top of the building was, that's just to help you see where the base is from a further distance. So yeah, sure, you can have a map, but it's only showing a small square. Right, storage room. And you'd be surprised how much storage you can actually go through. Oh yeah, if you're wondering, you can convert a creative into a survival game. So you can build a game or a base in creative and then continue in survival. It's a bit of a cheat really, but you basically do control and then change things. So that is an ender portal, and yes, you can make them inside your base. You don't have to find them. But generally speaking, to be able to build one, you ideally need creative mode. There's a stairway to the very bottom where you can fall out of the level. Yes, you can actually dig far enough to hit the bottom and fall into no man's land. So, how long did it take me to officially do this? 1 hour and 20 odd minutes. It was well worth it. It was actually quite funny. But we will continue on, messing around, where we decide to go to hell. That's a simple, polite way of putting it. So what do you expect to see in hell? Enemies who are vastly harder to kill, hurt you a lot more, so if you go in there, you want to have armor as a minimum. Also, beware, frame rates can drop. Not because of graphics, but the physics generation of fluids like lava. Being precise, the lava. And a massive quantity of fires everywhere. As you can see, the lava's only just moving up, so it takes a while to start it up properly. And these here are the piggies. At least I think it's pigs. Not sure. They do have gold weaponry, gold nuggets and all sorts of stuff on them. And in the dungeon world you do have light stones and stuff like that. Quartz and some other bits. But they're basically zombie pigs in human form. Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but yeah, that's the kind of thing they have. Now, if you saw that bunch of little green dots, it's basically XP collectors, so you do gain an XP level. I haven't quite figured out what it's for. Oh yeah, lava. It burns you, but for some reason it doesn't burn the piggies. Never mind. Anyway, considering I have a portal thing here, it'd be an idea to build it around and lock it up, because the last thing you want is them to travel through it. There's nothing like waking up inside your normal base to find a couple of hours inside of it. it is a monster in space myth that resembles a cat head. Makes a weird screechy noise from time to time. And yes, you can interrupt the flow of lava and stuff like that. Well, at which point, I'm going to skip ahead. This is going to take a little while. And if you're wondering how hard is it to build something like this in survival mode, if you got armor, not too bad. Anyway, skipping ahead, we have a base. Some survival boxes where we can have some materials and stuff. Because there's not a lot you can really capture down here. Some spell bits, some certain materials you can't get your hands on, but overall, not much. Or at least not I've ever realised. I could be missing something at your point. So, let's jump ahead to the Ender Portal. Yeah, it does take a little bit of work to build that thing. And what do you get? You jump to a place where you can't get away from until you've defeated the dragon. At which point, you have to get past all these weird creatures. You have to destroy the dragon's shield generators. And no, I'm not joking with that. At which point I'd love to know how you actually complete this in survival without dying like 500,000 times. So if you were to do it, you would have to have materials and resources to build a base strong enough just for you, a survival box with food, and a lot of it to regenerate your health. Dig up that lot with a staircase variation, diamond stuff only, bow and a sword, and a lot of things involved with trying to do that. I'd hate to really think. It's going to be immensely complicated. But anyway, if in survival, it's a piece of cake. Well, not entirely. So what kind of weapons can you use against Ender Dragon? Sword and bow and arrow. Is it effective? Not really. Not that much. Can you fly just in the middle of a map and fire bows and arrows while it's stationary? Okay. Swings blow the things away. Right, let's skip ahead because it takes a lot longer than we think. I did find out a way to kill the dragon quicker. Quite frankly, it was not bow and arrow. Not the majority of the time. Then bow and arrow and sword combination. Finally. So, my review and thoughts behind Minecraft is, can you play it as a 30-odd year old? You can, especially if you have an excuse of having children, whether it's grandchildren or your own children. Is it a game you can play even if you don't have kids? You can. Is it worth buying? Considering it's the grandfather of all of these kind of games, yes. Now, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you fancy. Subscribe's at the bottom, and I'll catch you next.